Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Don't forget, if you like the video, click on like and subscribe and talk about it on chat lines, wherever it is your social media activities, and help us to grow and help more people. I'll talk to you soon. Steve Matheson is here, says, Male 49 Ireland, thank you for that. Says, I hope you are doing well so far. I'm just disappointed with all the old things that are going around the world, with all these restrictions of freedoms and all that, and turning our lives upside down. These bastards. Says, I think I've cracked the idea that my anger towards an ex was because I thought about the pleasure only, as previously discussed. Yes, we did talk about that, didn't we? In detail. It's exactly, you know, often if you analyze it, you will see that the exes that you're thinking about all day long, that, oh, I miss her and all that, all you're really missing is the sex, is her legs, how beautiful she was, what she did for you when you guys were in in good standing. And so all that pleasure that is you're reminiscing, all that pleasure you're ruminating, it it replaces everything else that you might want to think or you should be thinking or bringing to your attention while you're enjoying all the pleasurable things about that experience, but you don't, because pleasure, life is about pain and pleasure. So when the pleasure is there, you don't want to deviate from it anywhere. You don't want to sell it to anything. You want to stay on that tone, on that tune, because it's so pleasant for the body. It brings that satisfaction, that contentment, that happiness, because pleasure is almost everything. That's why many people, they don't solve their problems. They can't solve their problems. They go into things that gives them momentary pleasures. They call it pleasure. It's not even good for them, but they call it pleasure and they think it's good for them, such as alcohol, drugs, and so on. They just want to be on that, or, they get marijuana and they get high and all that because they just want to be on that mood of not really having anything bothering them. So the pleasure makes every other problem that you have in your life disappear momentarily and gives you that feeling of bliss and I'm good. Nothing is wrong in my life. I'm happy. Happiness is often where there is no concerns. So when you are in the midst of that wave of pleasure, however you have created it, whatever substance or whatever activity, then it covers up all shortcomings and troubles that you don't even pay attention to. They just dissipate and decimate. They seem like they don't exist. And you don't want to give that state away because that's where you find nothing is wrong in my life. I finally overcame everything, even though you didn't, but it feels like you did. So pleasure is something that you want to stick in that chapter of that book. And you don't want to read any other chapter that might disturb that pleasurable experience. So when you think about the ex, you constantly think about the pleasurable parts, how she smiled, how good looking she was, how she held your hand, or where you guys did. All the good things come to your mind. And the sex, the beauty and how she dressed. And naturally, that would then make you feel she was perfect. I missed the chance. What am I going to do? You become anxious. You want to get her back because no other disqualification or disqualifying characteristics of her comes to mind when you're focusing on the pleasure part of the relationship. And naturally, you'll be missing her every moment and you have no reason to say, why did I leave her? She was so perfect, because you're only thinking about the perfect part of that relationship, which was, in most part, the sexual part. Why would you want to be with a woman if you're not interested in sex? A heterosexual male wants to be, pursues, loves, worships, follows, kills for, dies for a woman. Why? Why, other than the fact that he loves women because he wants to have sex with them? We're programmed for procreation, and that is beyond our understanding, but that makes us to follow, want, and pursue women. But why? We don't even know anything about her mentality, her philosophy, her lifestyle, nothing. We know nothing about the way she negotiates her life, but we love her. We want her just because we saw her. What does that mean? naturally. It's not because of her brain genius ideas about civilization or anything. It's because of the natural attraction and the sexual bond that we want to have with her, right? So all these pleasurable memories that come to most everyone about their exes, it only includes the sexual pleasures and only pleasure part of the relationship. The travels, again, in the travel because of the romantic, that's sex, romanticism and romantic relationship and talks and comfort and walks and experiences that were all pleasurable. It's all comes back to the sexual memories of that relationship. And then what's not to love when you think about all these wonderful moments of that relationship? And then you miss her. And for that, you need to quickly update that chapter that you're focusing on, bring the summary of all other chapters of that relationship, which is including all the disqualifying characteristics of that relationship, all the problems that you had, and all the negative things. And then you have a complete file. But we are not looking at the complete file when we're missing our ex. We're only looking at the selective parts of the pleasurable parts and experiences, which then tends to make us believe that if everything was right, why did I leave her? And then you miss her, and then you regret, and then you feel guilty, and you feel angry about yourself that she was the best thing. But she wasn't. If she was, you would still be together. Anyhow. And Steve says, I had no more thoughts like that. It's been a long trip to fully getting out of my mind, but finally have. Thank you. I'm amazed that this took so long. Yeah, because we follow a certain tangents of a relationship, which is in line with the concept of the pain and pleasure, and we prefer pleasure. So we only selectively take those. And what's not to fall in love over and over again when we think about all those wonderful memories, pleasurable ones, which again, sexual and so on, which is that's where we find our complete contentment in life when we are actually having sex. Because when you're having sex, your mind is completely in the moment, in the present moment. And that's when the human being finds its most powerful time of life and most balanced part when they're fully in the moment. And what makes you to be in the moment when we have full attention to what you're doing, the efforts, that moment, whatever you're involved in. And that is usually only perfected with nothing else in mind when you're in a sexual relationship, when you're in a intimate relationship. And that is when you are feeling whole and present 100%. And that presentness brings total balance. Because when you're present in a moment, regardless of what you're doing, whether it's sex or sports or whatever it is that you're fully paying attention to it, that's where the mind, which has no home in the body, is always traveling around unfocused here and there. But that's when the mind joins the body. Both are at the same place, same time, and the same focus on the same thing. Then that brings the compatibility, perfect harmony between mind and the body. And that's where mind and body are coordinated. And in that coordination, you feel balanced, you feel healthy. Whatever it is that makes your mind and body focus together, be at the same time and space together, and not one here, body here, and mind all over the place. When you also train the mind to be where the body is, that's mind and body coordination. And that needs training. But most people get that through intimacy. That's when mind and body are together. In most cases, without knowing meditation, without knowing how mind and body coordination techniques are, to employ it and to use it in all aspects of life, but automatically takes place, by default takes place in human being without the knowledge of what meditation, mind and body coordination is when you're having sex, when you're being intimate. Mind and body joins. And when that joins, we're complete. And when we're complete, we're strong, we're balanced, we're happy, and everything else, because we're all both mind and body in the moment. That's why instructor, when we were studying Aikido, mind and body coordination, and Aikido, meditation, so on, was calling it keep one point. The one point was the place where the center of gravity of the body, but also we had trained the brain to also reside and focus on the point of the central gravity of the body. So the mind and body would combine, be at the same place, same point. That's when you want to manifest your total power. That's why I could do what I did, the demonstration in that classroom, in that university, where the student was bigger than me, could lift me up 1 second, and second couldn't lift me up when there was no other weight hanging on me. That's when mind and body becomes, it's not a trick, it's a fact. Every one of you can do it. When mind and body are both focused on one same point in the physical body, mind also joins that one point, center of gravity of human being, then you become invincible. They can't even lift you up. You bring any kind of a power lifter, they can't lift you up. Even though you're just maybe, I don't know, 100 pounds or, 120 pounds, whatever a pound is. Even a child, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, when you teach him. So this is a real power and shows you at the same time how powerful the brain is, that you can manipulate it and use it in the law of the nature, and you can bring about a tremendous amount of power. Now, that power can work against you when it goes rogue and malfunctions, and then you end up believing whatever the garbage it says. But at the same time, now coming back to this story here, when mind and body is coordinated, there are tremendous powers that you have. And you have that moment where you feel you're invincible because you're connected with the nature. So that focus, it needs teaching and learning and practice. But when you're intimate with your girlfriend, that focus is by default automatically 100% there. Mind and body is coordinated, and that's when you achieve your most powerful and relaxed and natural state. All right, having said that, let's move on to subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mindthatseekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon.